Hey y'all, this is TCA Gaming. So this would be part 4 to the Q&A. It's been maybe 5 days since I initially did those first few questions. From what I'm looking at on the sheet of paper, I don't think we got to this sheet of paper. I hope I don't try to repeat anything. I am noticing the view count is way down on these type of videos. I do want to give the time to answer all the questions, but we may run this one a little long depending on how my voice does and if I get too bored. But there are a lot of pages left, so we may split up in 2 videos if we hit like an hour or something like that. What is it, 2:24 right now? But we'll jump right into the questions. So very first one from Effect Spore: what do you get at Chipotle when you go? Well, I haven't been in a while. Last time I went was probably when I was traveling around with somebody I used to work with in Greensboro. I used to work on H&R blocks. I mean, we'd pull some like crazy hours. I remember we did like 54 hours straight. I mean, pretty much we'd go into an H&R blocks and they were changing up the color scheme, and basically we did that. We painted, and I went in, I managed the data. I would run new wires, and some other people would manage the electrical part of it. And you know, it's something that I picked up on pretty quick, but it was fun running with that crew. I mean, we'd hit like 3 or 4 jobs in one day. But Chipotle is what our boss really liked then, and I kind of like the same thing I like at Moe's. It's that similar to a Joey bag. I guess you just get chicken in there, some queso, I'm not even sure what the terms are. Just the stuff with the corn and tomatoes. I do get beans in there. Can't think of much else, but I prefer the chicken. Next up, we have Bob Gordon. How supportive and interested is your family about you collecting/selling Pokemon cards? Well, I mean, my wife and kids, I mean, they like it. I mean, it pays the bills. My wife gets to work at home. She doesn't have to work. She used to work at T-Mobile. She used to work in the mall. She used to run a few different jobs. She loves doing photography. Whenever she wants to do that, she can. She has basically everything she needs for that. But they're very supportive of it. As in my parents, I mean, my parents are where I come from. They still rent from their home right in front of the same motel where we grew up. So honestly, they hit me up for work anytime that I can get that to them. Same thing with Anna's family. I think I probably loan money to everyone in our family, so I don't think they really have any room to talk. You know, it's clean. I mean, it's just Pokemon. I get to spend time with my family, so I mean, I love it. Next up, from Joshua Poblano. Hope I said that right. I looked up your website. It says you're located in North Carolina. Do you have a physical store that people can come in and shop? I used to. I started one up in June of 2016, and I shut the doors January of 2018. It was fun. I liked it. I didn't really like the fact of having like that. I had to have employees be there, and you know, I really thought it was going to be a little something different with the people that I hired, but it didn't turn out to be that they were very motivated to progress further and further. And it took my focus a lot away from Pokemon. I got rid of some things during that time that I really wish I hadn't. And so built this place right here that you see behind us. I had a friend who had a backhoe, and we come out here and dug the footings right beside my house, and we built it from the ground up. I got to learn a lot during that process. Technically, it hasn't been inspected fully yet. I mean, I called an inspector out here, but he wouldn't approve it because he couldn't see inside the walls. But so I mean, this is the closest thing I have to a shop, but it's not open to the public. It's just where I work. It's right beside my house. It's pretty easy. This place, it's over 1,000 square foot. It's heated. I think it costs about $25,000 or so, which when I was at the storefront, the rent itself was like $1,200, which isn't too bad for 2,800 square feet. But after you factor in employee costs, electricity, internet, and then apparently once you get past 3 employees, you have to get workers' compensation insurance and this other type of insurance, and you have to pay for, you know, parts of their taxes. I mean, it just got ridiculous. So I was like, there's no point in having employees if I have to pay for all of this extra stuff. My overhead ended up being about $10,000 a month. So it's just a lot easier to have my own place and, you know, just do the work all myself, because for the most part I had to go back and double check that stuff anyways. All right, so next up we have Masterin Openings. What car do you drive? I don't drive a car. I drive a truck. It's a Ford Sport Track, so 2007. Got about 140,000 miles on it. It's pretty beat up, but Overall, it works. I might need to eventually get me a bigger truck just so I can haul things a little better. I want to get some heavier equipment so I can do work around on my land and do some landscaping, maybe build a basketball court and a few things like that. Next up from Todd Marshall, very cold idea. Maybe very cool. I guess cool, cold, whatever. Do you have a PSA rare trainer that was only in Japanese? It's like the first card ever made or something. I know that Andrew from Lootbox TV, he went to grade his and was very unhappy due to its lower grade. I think this card is called Grand Prize or something. There was a grand party. I mean, I recently sold one, but I just bought it graded and resold it graded, so I don't really have one in my personal collection. One of the cards that I think I do like, I always like the Please Trade. I think that was the name of the card. It's got like a holographic backside, which I thought was pretty cool. Guys, I apologize for my chapped lips. It's been pretty dry the past couple of days. We rode up to the mountains just to see the snow. And we actually have a minivan, and it's a 2007. I think it's a Grand Caravan. Man, the thing's a piece of junk. But you know what? It'll get us from A to B. The most annoying part about it is like where the headliner inside the vehicle is always like sagging on your head. I'm sure some of you can relate to that, but honestly, we just need to get a new vehicle, especially with our with another baby on the way. So next up, we have Mario Mendoza. Out of all the winter cards, which would you say is your favorite? Mine is the Salamence. I'm trying to collect them all in tins, but I'm finding this to be extremely difficult. LOL. I'm partial to the Best of Game winter cards when those first come out. It'd be nice to have a Professor Helm winner, but those pretty much don't exist. I'd probably say Rocket's Mewtwo. I like that card. I connect with it. It's pretty cool. It's the number 8 from the Best of Game series. Probably the most expensive raw card. PSA 10, it's pretty up there. It's about $500 or so. Next up from Max Hofo. How old are you, and did you play the older Game Boy games? I am 29 as of today, which is January 6th, 2020. I did play some of the older Game Boy games. Red and blue. I think I had red. Maybe it was blue. I did not have yellow. I played it a little bit, but I didn't have one personally myself, and then I played silver. I didn't go past that. Those are the ones that I pretty much played. Next up, Bear Ruiz. How do you financially support your hobby? Well, this really isn't just my hobby. It's what I do. So, I mean, I buy and sell cards. You have to, things that you want to collect, you can set them aside, but, if push comes to shove, you have to sell that stuff. So whenever I buy something, I buy it with the intention of I'm going to sell it. That way, if I have to, I can. And most of the time, say somebody wants to, I had somebody who was trying to sell me, he's a patron, he was wanting to sell me a Charizard Shadowless PSA 9. The lowest one on eBay as of that moment was about $1,700. But I have to look at the liquidation value of it. So I went to the most recent auction, which happened just a couple weeks ago for $1,300, and I think it was $51 if you add in the shipping. The cost for that cleared value, if I'm a seller, is $1,176 if you take out the PSA and or not the PSA, but the PayPal and the eBay fees. And so I think I don't know if we settled on $1,000. He said he was looking to get $1,000. I said I could probably do that. Most of the time, I'm actually at 75% or lower. On the $5 and under cards, you're going to be a really small margin. But something that's high end, like a PSA 9 Shadowless Charizard, I'm willing to pay pretty close to the actual value, just because it's fairly liquidable, and I'm basing it off of a liquid price. Where if I base it off the $1,700 price, that's maybe it'll sell at that on eBay one day. Maybe it'll come down. We don't really know. It's been hovering at $1,500 for so long. But you got to factor in eBay fees, PayPal fees, and if you're sitting on it. But I think at that price, I could sell it in auction tomorrow and it'd do just fine. I might make $50 or $100 on it. You have to factor in anytime that you're buying something. When you sell it, you got to make money. So that's how I support it. I just buy and sell Pokemon stuff, and I do it based off of how my end game is for that item. So next up, from Spider 2016, what did you have to do to get a discount PSA rate? So my details on that are a little bit different. I have gotten as much as 50 cents off of just a regular bulk rate, or I think maybe 75 cents for $1 back in the day. I've paid the smallest amount I've ever paid for a PSA submission is right at $5, and that was when they were doing a $6 bulk rate, and I maybe submitted 500 cards or so. But now I actually pay pretty close to what the bulk rate is. I just work with someone else, and it works out for me to where I make a little bit of money for less work. Now, I do submit a lot of cards. So, I mean, I submit a bulk order over 200 every single week. So, I mean, I'm putting in 1,000 cards or more, probably on the higher end side of that every single month. So, I mean, I'm putting out a high volume of these cards consistently every single week. All right, so next up from Gareth Talks. All right, you're on 2 different pages here, bud. Of your personal collection, what is your pride and joy? An item you've always wanted and finally got. If so, can we see a video if we already haven't? Keep up the great work. Rusty. I like mine cut sheets. I like the test sheet. You guys have seen a little bit of that one. Ancient Mew was the Ancient Mew uncut sheet was a milestone for me. I like the legendary test prints sheets. I think you guys have seen those. They're on my Instagram. The magical clock was a milestone for me. I do have 3 of those now, but that's something that took me a lot to actually find and get. When it comes to PSA graded cards, I mean, I'm still working on some stuff. I have probably the most expensive pack I have graded is an alpha pack. The most expensive individual card I have might not even be Pokemon. It might be Yu-Gi-Oh! With the LOB Blue Eyes First Edition. I had the very first LOB, it's not up there, First Edition set, which I'm working on getting that back reinstated. They screwed up one of the certs on it and kicked it out, which is just weird. They relabeled a Hinotama, which is like a common, to a different language, Red Eyes Black Dragon, which is like an ultra rare from the same set. So it made my set incomplete, which is it just makes me mad. They haven't responded to me in almost a month now. But there's a lot of things that I like. I don't know if I could pinpoint any one personal item. I mean, I collect uncut sheets. I collect PSA cards. I have binders and binders and binders. I have sealed boxes. It would have been the base first ed box, I guess, if there was anything. It's not anymore because obviously I don't have that. I do have a shadowless box for sure, and I have all the other boxes. Maybe what it was the complete box collection as a whole. Once I get the base first ed box again, hopefully, that's one of the big goals for this year. That can be the pride of my collection again. All right, so next up we have, where are we at? Charizard Baller. Would you ever try to enter the trophy market? Maybe if it was easy, but it'll never be easy. So I'm not really, I don't connect as much with those cards. So I think it would be more about just buying them and then finding someone to resell it to. And I don't know if I want to work at that high of a risk for if it doesn't work out. I don't really have that much attachment to the card itself. But if it worked out to where I could buy one for a good price and then resell it to someone I know who wants it, I mean, yeah, who wouldn't take in on something like that? But I'm probably not going to enter that market. I'm going to stick to what I know. Jonathan M's asks, what is your favorite fruit and your favorite vegetable? Favorite fruit. I like a lot of fruits. I like Asian pears. Those are pretty good. I like cantaloupe. At different times, I mean, I can eat just about any fruit. Let's see, for vegetables, I like broccoli. I really like broccoli. I used to like broccoli a lot as a kid. I mean, a good pot roast with about all the vegetables is good too. Yeah, so I'd probably say I would just go with broccoli if we're just eating one straight out vegetable a lot with different meals. It goes great with steak. I like eating steak. Dick Devourer 3000 says, what is your favorite dessert? Ooh. Oh man, I like a lot of desserts. Well, that donut life, I like to get the long custard chocolate covered ones, or I guess it's Bavarian cream might be the technical name for it. I really like that. Trolling Toad one year sent me some honey bourbon sugar glazed pecans or something like that, and those are really good. They were just like come in a little can. I tried for months to order those things. I'm trying to think if there's something else. I mean, I like meats. I like chips, but I mean those aren't really desserts, are they? Jumbinator Live asks, can you send me free cards for Christmas? It's already after Christmas, so I don't think I can. Next up, Tommy Coley. How far away are you from Wilmington, North Carolina? I heard you mention you were in North Carolina in a recent video. I'm born and raised here myself. Pretty far away. I'm on the opposite end of North Carolina. I'm in Hickory, or around Hickory, which is probably about 4 or 5 hours away from Wilmington. We come, close to Wilmington when we go to the beach. Normally we go to Myrtle Beach, which is south of there, or we might go to like Oak Island. I believe that's north. I can't even remember anymore. We go to Oak Island. We like Emerald Isle. We started going to Florida, Clearwater beaches, and it's kind of hard to go back to North Carolina beaches. I like North Carolina beaches because they got the breeze and you got these cool shells and the strong current, but they also got like the sharks that are always attacking, it seems like. We were down there when there was like 3 attacks in 1 week on the beach that we were at. But man, in Florida, it's so nice with that clear water, and you got sand dollars when you dive down everywhere. And I think I pulled up, it was like 16 sand dollars in one breath. I mean, you can just open up your eyes and sit down there, and it's just crazy compared to how murky it is in North Carolina. All right. So TCG Caravan. Outside of TCG, what do you collect? Well, I used to collect all kinds of stuff. I used to pick up like old beer bottle caps when I lived at Loman's Motel. We just walk around. I'm trying to think. Used to collect keys. Used to collect coins. I don't really collect those things anymore. Trading cards is pretty much what I collect now. I mean, it's not. I don't really focus on anything else, I guess. Lucille Palmer, grab some Lugia-centric Pokemon 2000 Tops cards from you through Troll and Toad. I noticed the stock was pretty limited in general, so thank you so much for the chance to add them to my Lugia collection. Well, you're welcome. Twerking Man asks, what's your favorite Gym Heroes Holo and Gym Heroes artworks? I like Rocket's Mewtwo. I think Rocket's Scyther has a pretty cool artwork. I like the way he's coming out towards you. I mean, I'm always partial to a Charizard. I don't think his artwork is that great, but I connect to the card because he has a corrected error. Yeah, those would probably be some of the ones that I like. I think there was a Brock Sandshrew. Maybe it was Brock's. There was a 71 and a 72. I think the 72 is the one with the sunset in the background. I like that card. There was an Erica's Bulbasaur in Gym Challenge. I like that. I like the artwork on that one too. All right, so this is on 2 pages from Chris G. I've always wanted to know does having a swirl on the holo make it more valuable? Someone else said depends who you ask. But it can. I didn't even really notice it until I started mentioning it. Once we started opening up packs, I think it, like I said, I think it can depend on placement. I don't really think it has that big of a value difference. Maybe if you had like this mega swirl on a nice, Charizard card that's in PSA 10 condition, and then you had the exact same one without a swirl, maybe somebody would prefer the big swirl. It's kind of like the thick versus thin. If I'm looking at a thick first edition stamp, card in exact same condition, we have one that's thin, I'm probably just going to pick the thick just because people in general go for that one. Next up, we have Nick Swoosh. How would you insure a $10,000 to $15,000 Pokemon card against fire, theft, or damage? I would not buy insurance. What I would do is I would protect it. I would make it less liable to be stolen from somebody by putting it in a safe deposit box or living down what almost looks like an abandoned road like I do, with cameras up and alarms and guns and dogs and me always being around it. I think the best type of insurance is your own protection. Next up, we have Zach Shrum. For Q&A, what do you protect your Pokemon collectors insurance-wise? What do you do to protect your Pokemon collection insurance-wise? Are collectibles easily recoverable through standard renter's insurance in the event of robbery/home damage, or is there a specific type of additional collector's insurance needed to ensure you would be properly able to replace and recover everything? Lastly, how detailed of information/documentation of my collection do I need to properly cover my bases? Thanks for doing this. Looking forward to hearing all of your responses. Pretty much the same thing that Nick Swoosh had just asked. I mean, I'm not a big believer in insurance. In a way, it's a ripoff. There's a reason they make money, and they can make lots of money and spread it around, because pretty much they're saying it's probably not going to happen. You can pay me to have a peace of mind. My peace of mind comes from knowing that if somebody tries to break in here, they're going to have to go through several different hurdles and fences and walls and guns and dogs, and there's just so many things that they have to go through. I'm putting my faith in what I do. Now, there are good ways to buy insurance. I don't suggest renter's insurance. You're going to have to probably go through some kind of private insurance, or find a big company that would insure collectibles. For me, I don't think that. I think I've asked about it before with my renters, well, not renters insurance, but just like homeowners insurance, and they've told me that they'll cover for the basic card value of what a standard card is. So if a Pokemon card they deem is worth a penny or a nickel, then it doesn't matter if the card was $40,000 or if it was worth a nickel, they're going to cover it for a nickel. You have a better chance of getting money back for an extra TV that you just set beside the Pokemon cards that burns up at the same time. Next up from J491, why do people go through you to submit cards to PSA rather than doing it themselves? I have never submitted to PSA, so I don't even know how it works. There are a few reasons. You can save money if you're submitting a small amount of cards. If you're submitting a large amount of cards, you may not actually save any money. But if you're submitting, say, 1 or 2 cards through PSA yourself, you're going to pay that full regular price rate, plus you're going to pay the full shipping. For me, what I charge you is just the flat fee that I can add on to my bulk rate, which is going to be less than what you would pay if you have to pay for the regular rate. And then my shipping is going to be different too. I'll let you decide how you would like it shipped back. You don't have to pay for the PSA shipping part of it that you would normally if you were shipping it yourself. You will have to pay shipping back from me to you, which is going to be cheaper than if PSA was shipping back to you. So if you don't want to insure it, I mean, you can get as cheap as $4.50 return shipping for a PSA card, because that's basically what the cost of first class no insurance is. And I allow you to do that if that's what you want, because it's your card. So you can save money in a couple different ways. And I think the big reason some people submit a lot of cards to me is so they don't have to do all the work. Sometimes it can be really frustrating having to go through, you list out all your cards, then you got to go find, the card itself, or whatever it is, all the spec information on it. You have to put the value on it. Then you make sure it goes into a card saver. You have to make sure it's all in order. You calculate the price out, and you still have to label that kind of stuff on the outside of the card saver if you're doing it correctly and you don't want any delays going to PSA. Most of the dates that I put for my turnaround times are roughly the exact ones that are on PSA site. I actually have a little bit faster turnaround times, but I add on extra time because I want people to see a more accurate, reflective type of date, even though at times that can even be off. I've got somebody who's had stuff out for over 6 months right now. PSA operates on their own time schedule, but those are the main 2 reasons. You can save money, and you don't have to do it yourself. You basically send me the cards, and I take care of the rest. You won't hear back from me unless there's an update or you ask a question. Next up from Tom N9NE. 2-part question. Are you a Star Wars fan? And if so, what is your favorite Star Wars movie and why? I'm actually not really. I don't watch a ton of TV. When I watch TV, it's usually with my wife at night, right before we're going to bed. I don't like watching TV before I go to bed, but it's something that I do for her because it helps her go to sleep. So pretty much every night I get the remotes. We watch something that she wants to watch, and when she goes to sleep, I turn it off. Usually it's something that we both enjoy, though. I think we're going through Reba again right now. That's a TV show that's probably been off air for over a decade now. But we actually tried to watch Star Wars recently, and we started with the 1973 movie, and I'll be honest, it was pretty boring. And it wasn't, I think we got right up to, it was the second or third movie, and it was right where Darth Vader says, Luke, no, I am your father. It just says, no, I am your father. It didn't come out, Luke, I Am Your Father like it was, it was supposed to, or that you always hear that it comes out. So that kind of blew my mind a little bit. And ironically enough, I think there was like a meme on E4 about it, or a post on E4 about it very soon after. So next up from Nicolas Cope, do you think Hidden Fates will be desired / collectible in the future? Yes. It's still desirable now. It's still one of the best sets out there, even though it's been printed into the ground already. Man, my lips are dry. It's definitely a set that it's going to do well for value and hold its value over time. Right now, I mean, if you're comparing it to other sets, like if you want to compare Hidden Fates to Cosmic Eclipse, maybe even Unbroken Bonds, it's still going to have an edge up on it, whereas the product that you're buying is going to be the exact same price at retail. So if I were you, I'd buy the stuff with Hidden Fates in it. You have better pull rates. It has really nice Pokemon. It's the same way with Generations. It's taken a while to get that stuff out of stock, but it still does well for the collections that you have. You've got the Red and Blue Venusaur, Charizard, Blastoise, and Pikachu. All of those boxes are still more than your standard 4-pack booster box. So yes, I do think it is something that will be desired and collectible in the future. The sooner Pokemon takes it out of print, the more desirable it'll be. Next up from JC, what are your thoughts on investing in retro to modern video games and gaming merchandise? When all games eventually go digital, how will that affect physical game prices? I don't know much about the video game market. I'll be completely honest with you. I bought the Game Boy games for a while there for Pokemon, and I liked them, and then I just saw how easily they were faked, and I sold them and got out of it. So I can't really answer your question because I don't know that much about it. Next up, from Jack Allison, do you reckon the WotC products will continue to rise in price? As time goes on, it should. I mean, if we're assuming all the other factors stay the same, then yeah, it should rise. Next up from Super Chan, do you have any sealed products for the Pokemon Topps cards? I probably have some scattered here and there, but not much. I chose to focus on the regular TCG of it. I have some Topps graded cards. I have a couple thick binders full of just like sets that I've pushed back. Some of you have seen my desk where I've got 3 Series 1 Topps sets just underneath the glass. I like Topps. I think it's a great set, but for me, my focus is on the WotC stuff for as long as I can do that. Aussie, I don't even know, Fish Adventures. Question, what's your most favorite era Pokemon card? Probably the Ninetales. I like that one. I think the Ghost Pikachu is the most unique. I'm pretty sure Brian at Rock Carolina, he's the one who found that one. He found a set of 4 in a dude's collection, which is why we thought it come from the Zap deck, and also why that one guy I sold a Gold Strip deck to. I told him to record it, and he did, and he ended up having them, which my deck did not have those. I'm still looking forward to open up another Zap deck to hopefully pull some Phantom Pikachus. Next up from Moby Dersch, TCA Q&A. I know it's greedy. Please pick one or answer all 3. I'll leave that up to you. If there's anything you would change in the world right now, what would it be? I guess selfishness. People have a tendency to focus on themselves, and that's why they want what other people have, or why they get angry or jealous or whatever. I think selfishness could, and I know that's a really broad answer, like world peace, but for me, I guess that would be it. 2, what sort of music do you like? I like contemporary Christian. I'm really big into 90s country. I'm a fact buff when it comes to that kind of stuff. I do like some modern country, but every time I turn on the radio now, they're just talking about alcohol. So it's not as much my thing anymore. I like Randy Travis, and even though he's had some issues in the media himself, but I like his songs. I like we were just listening to the Judds the other day. They're a little more laid back, but I like some rock. I like some older rock as well, some bluegrass. I'm not into rap. For some reason, that's always just like angered me. I try to steer away from it. There's some that I get into, like, who doesn't get into the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, when that theme song comes on. I do not like opera at all. Trying to think of what else. I'm not much into jazz or like adult contemporary. I mean, I guess maybe there's some songs in each one of those genres, but for me, it's mostly, I'd say, country's, my top, and then maybe contemporary Christian, something like that. Next up, we have question 3 from the same Moby Dersch. What's your favorite film of all time? I wish the cussing wasn't so bad in it. If you watch it on maybe a television that has it all bleeped out, I like Forrest Gump. If you go with like a kid's show, maybe I like Holes. I like that movie. Maybe because I read the book, but I like the fact that everything connects in there. I like Lion King was probably my favorite animated movie. There were some other ones that I like too, but those are probably my 3. Next up from Cesar Delgado, what's the ideal weight for a heavy Pokemon base set booster pack, long pack? Well, I guess if you're looking for ideal, you would want as heavy as possible. Maybe 21.6 grams. I think if you had that, then you could probably say it's heavy. Most of the time, longs are going to be 0.3 grams heavier than the standard heavy base. If you have at least 21.3, then you've got a good shot at there being a hollow inside. But I've seen 20.8, be a heavy pack before. The range is so wide, so if you're going for ideal, you want as heavy as possible. Oh, look, Jared Kerboy said 21.4 grams. You're pretty close. You got the Casual Canuck. Great content, man. My question is, what's your biggest burn in the Pokemon collecting community? Well, I guess when I got scammed on that first dead base box. Maybe a purchase that wasn't what you expected or a grading incident, but what was your biggest financial mistake in the hobby? I remember there was a guy that I bought it was a dozen Charizard EXs from Fire Red Leaf Green. There was a bunch of other stuff he had listed. There was like 100 or so of it was like a Misty trainer from Gym Heroes. It was Here Comes Team Rocket, Rocket Sneak Attack from Team Rocket. And these were all unlimited. They were supposed to be hollow, but they were non-hollow, which was, it's a big difference. It's just the rare versus the hollow. So I way overpaid for those non-hollows, and it took forever to sell them. And then the Charizard EXs, all 12 of them were like really crappy and messed up, beat up. So it didn't work out. Next up from MN Fisher 09. If anyone is wondering, submitting cards to TCA is thumbs up. Got mine back and was satisfied by it. Need more details? Just ask the man himself and he will walk you through it. Why, thank you, MN Fisher 09. We're at 2:56, so we're about 30 minutes into it. So we're about halfway. We might make it through this. So next up from Julian Salgado. Is this how you make a living? Yes. What does your wife think about you collecting Pokemon? She trusts me. And my wife is very supportive of me doing the same. I think that's great. Keep everything open between you and your wife. You've got God, then you have your wife. Most important person to you once you marry your wife, you have your wife, and then you have your kids. Because remember, your kids are going to grow up one day. They are completely, dependent on you. So, at times they're going to be the most important, people in your life. But long term, your spouse is going to be who's left, after your kids move off. Which I hope my kids never move out. They could just live here. As much as I'd like to think about having grandkids, I want my little girls just to stay the size that they are now. And I've got a little boy on the way. I don't know what I'm going to do with all that. So next up from Milieu, will you ever do a face cam while unboxing? I guess I could. Just add to it. Just wanting any tips? Well, let's see what this is. Oh, from Bulbing. Hi, I was wondering if you could do a collection video. I must have skipped this other one. All right, so I can, but it's not going to be one video. You kind of see my collection as it comes in with the purchase videos. Some of that stuff goes in my collection. Some of it I sell. But there's no way I could show everything. Like I said, if you can see through the toys, back over there, all those boxes, most all of them boxes are my collection or back stock. I've probably got 50 PSA boxes. That's probably 5,000 PSA cards or so. And I am thinning it out. Some of it is just regular back stock. Maybe it's about 4,000 because I think that bottom row is just back stock or just extra ones. I'm trying to thin it out and focus more. But you've seen a lot of it, already. What you may be surprised by is some of the uncut sheets, but I have a lot of videos already out there. If you go back into my older videos, it might be crappy, but I've got them even labeled 1, 2, 3, 4, all that stuff. And the one I skipped from Chad Galloway, just wanting any tips you have for starting a card store or best distributor to use. If you are anywhere near Kentucky or Alaska, I'd use Mad Owl. GTS is pretty good too. The representatives that I have, I can get you their information if you are a patron. I'm not going to just give that out, publicly. Next up, we have James Lee. Do you follow the competitive scene of Pokemon, TCG or VGC? Thanks as always, Rusty. I used to. When I had the card shop, it was fun to just take a break and just go play with the people who are out in the store, get to know them, just play the game. At one point, I had like 10 different decks, man. It was just fun getting out there and building decks. And my mind works that way and I'm very competitive, so I want to play and I want to compete with people that are out there and even make decks. If you were on my website for a while there, I actually had these links that you could follow that would take you to pages where I made up my own decks. And honestly, they did pretty good. They did pretty well. Now, I think it is important to stay somewhat knowledgeable about the competitive scene so you know what the prices of cards are. Like the Dedenne GX, I see a lot of people grading that card. I graded some myself, but the only reason it's high is because it's really playable. It's like it basically replaced the Tapu Lele GX. However, PSA graded, that doesn't hardly give it any value. If nothing else, it may take away from it because once it goes out of rotation, it's not going to be a $40, $50 card. I don't even know if it's that high anymore. I know it got up to about the point where it was about a $40, $50 card, and it dropped all the way down to about 20, and I'm not sure where it's at now. But it's playable. That it's not desirable or popular, which is what you need to go for something in PSA. Y'all may be hearing Sassy in the background again. Next up, Mr. Got Talent. When using your website for grading, there's a part where you have to select the max value. If I don't know exactly what the value is, what should I put? Most cards are going to be $199 and under. If you have a shiny Charizard from Hidden Fates, that's going to be, to the $5.99 value. If you had a Charizard GX Hyper Rare from Burning Shadows, that's going to be in the $5.99 value, which is technically $200 to $5.99. Almost any other card from Sun and Moon is going to be under $199. If you're unsure, just look at the card, say, whatever card you have, and give a rough estimate of what the condition is. But you can Google or you can go onto eBay and type in the card and see what the price is for a near mint copy. And if it's under, $150, even as a graded card, it's probably not going to surpass the $200 price unless it gets the Gem Mint 10. I don't always bank on the Gem Mint 10 price. I try to bank on the raw 9, at most, if it's a mint card. But like I said, most cards will be $199 and under. If you have a issue with that, you can always ask me. Next up, from Moises Gonzales. Hi, is there heavy or light packs for Neo Destiny? I'm looking to buy some. If you have any, could you let me know, please? Also, what happened to the old name, the Charizard Authority? Okay, so I think there is still heavy and light for Neo Destiny. It just doesn't matter because I think the light packs are where you can find shining. So even though the heavy ones should have hollows, if you have a heavy pack, you're probably not going to get a shining. What happened to the old name, the Charizard Authority? Pokemon called me up with their lawyers. They were like, hey, are you the Charizard Authority? Yes, I am. That's a copyrighted name, so remove it or suffer. So I took it out of, and what happened was there was a local store, the Dugout. They reported me. They got pictures. And the only reason I know it was them is because so many people come to me telling me about what had happened before it even happened. And when I talked to the lawyer lady, she pretty much all but confirmed the exact name and how it happened. They had pictures on file, and so I had to change my Facebook and I had changed my YouTube and my store name. Get all new T-shirts. Had to get new signage. It was just a hassle. But you know what? TCA game was way shorter, anyways. Charizard is copyrighted, so they were within their legal rights. But from the way she made out, she's like, we really don't care, but because somebody reported it, we have to act on it. Otherwise, other people could do something, and they may be bigger than you. Because honestly, at that point, even now, I'm just a fly on the wall to Pokemon. Next up, from Joe Cal, what are your top 3 favorite Charizards. You got First Ed Base, you have Shadowless, and maybe Corrected. Well, oh man, I like the Crystal Charizard too. I'd do First Ed Base. Let's do that one. Then maybe the Corrected Blaine's Charizard. We'll do Crystal Charizard next. I like Dark Charizard. There's a lot that I like, but maybe those top 3. Anthony Robotham, do you regret opening that first edition base set booster box from Collector's Cash? I don't really. I mean, it'd been nice to have kept it sealed, but it was another step in my journey. You know, it's gotten 1.3 million views on YouTube, so that kept my YouTube growing during those few years after that, where I wasn't doing anything with YouTube. I remember coming back maybe about a year ago, and I'd noticed that my YouTube channel had been still growing, and it was probably because of that one video. And if it hadn't been growing, then I probably wouldn't have just tried to pursue it a little harder and got to the point now where I'm doing videos almost every day. So no, I don't really regret it. I think there was some bad decisions there, yeah, but you know, I've got a first edition full box, opening, for base set on YouTube. And I mean, there's no way of going back anyways, but because if I did it now, I'd just weigh out the heavy packs, and I'd probably sell the heavy packs, or I'd open just the heavy packs, and then the unlimited ones would sell those. I mean, who knows how it would be done now? I'd probably be looking at it more from a monetary standpoint, where then I was just having fun with it. So it may not sound like I was having fun, because I know it was pretty dull, but I was having fun with it. So next up, from Derek McNanny, how many years have you been selling or heavy in selling buying game? I mean, I started in 2009. Full time, it was 2012, so 6.5 years. Next up, from Elliot L. Question: a local card shop has unlimited, unweighted fossil packs. They're $30 each. Is that easy money? Should I buy them, weigh them, and sell? Should I buy and sell unweighted, but for slightly more? What do you think? I want to make sure I'm not missing out on easy money. Also want a couple for my own opening pleasure. Would be cool to see you answer. Thank you, respectfully, Elliot. I mean, if they're truly unweighted, sure, yeah, go for it. I mean, even still, $30 a pack really isn't that bad. I mean, even if they end up all being light, you could probably still make your money back, maybe a little bit extra. But the thing about unweighted is, unless somebody opened up the box, they don't really know. And most of my boxes, if I sell them unweighted, I make sure that I know. Trying to make sure I didn't miss your question. You had a bunch there. You can weigh them and sell if you want. I mean, it's just up to you. That's what I started doing, because it made things pretty transparent between me and the buyer. If somebody does something sketchy with it after I sold it to them, I mean, I can't help that anyways. People could always reseal packs or say something's unweighed when they're not. So just make sure you verify that they are actually unweighed. If you saw them open the box up in store, then yeah, they probably are. So Spion, he asks, what do you consider the top 10 most difficult cards to find in PSA 10? All right. Doesn't have to be in specific order. Great video as always. I don't know about the top 10. I mean, we could start naming off some. You got the Typhlosion 17. You got the Ampharos from Neo Revelation. You got the Blissey from that same pack, or from that same set. You got the Raikkoon Suicune from Neo Revelation as well. You've got the Dark Magneton from Team Rocket. You've got the Rainbow Energy from Team Rocket. Neo Genesis. What was the other one I was missing? You got the Lugia from that same set. That was pretty tough. And the Slow King. Base set. I mean, if we're just first edition has a lot of hard ones. I mean, you got Chansey, you got Hitmonchan. Those are pretty tough. Looking at Jungle, you've got Vaporeon and Kangaskhan. Those are tough. Fossil, you have the Lapras, which is uber tough. Dragonite's pretty rough just because he's popular. Other tough Team Rocket one. I mean, you got the Rainbow Energy from Team Rocket. That one's tough. Gym Heroes and Gym Challenge isn't too bad. Sabrina's Gengar's in there. Now, from like Legendary Collection, I mean, you got the Charizard. That one's really rough. For a while there, it didn't have any in the Pop 10. Skarmory from Expedition. It's another rough one. Well, you can go off of that. There's still other ones that are pretty tough. Neo Destiny is probably the easiest, one of the easiest sets. Wigglytuff from base set 2, that one's tough. Callum Monroe. Hi mate, love the channel and I have one question. When do you give up buying products / booster packs and just purchase the cards you're looking for? Thanks for all the nostalgia. When you're tired of losing money. Because most of the time if you're buying packs just to open up the pack to search for one specific card, you're not going to get it. I mean, just the odds are stacked against you. You're going to need, like a new set release where you buy 1,000 packs of Hidden Fates to get that shiny Charizard. I had 1,000 packs where I opened up, or it was like almost 1,200 packs where I only got one shiny Charizard out of it. Just think of how hard it can be with the older stuff because the packs are so much more. The pull rates may not be crazy like that. However, especially if you're going for like PSA 10, sometimes just buying it for that one reason to get a card, it's going to be tough. The pull rates aren't even guaranteed. Next up, you have Diego Benuelos. Don Vito? LOL? I don't know. I don't even know what that means. Justin Svisk? Justin. How much time do you dedicate to your business on average per week? Interested in starting a similar business but looking to get an idea of time investment. When I started out, every minute that I could. Every minute that I could, or I didn't feel like going outside, enjoying the weather, playing basketball with my friends, I put it into Pokemon. You might as well. It's better than watching TV. And now, I'd probably say I try to work 8 to 5 on average. Usually I'm in work before then, but I have errands I might have to run during the day. And then I try to be off by 5. Some days I can't, but 6 days a week is what I work though. So 40 to 50 hours. Probably more, but around there. Kyle asks, do you buy collections if they aren't near mint? Most cards are minimal play and have been stored in binders. I do. PokeRev, my question for you, how do you manage to juggle your family, YouTube, and work life? As a business owner, it's like always being on the clock. Well, it's nice having my family around. But what's up, PokeRev? And I try to take advantage of any time that my girls want to love on me and hug on me, while I'm here working, sitting in this chair. But there are times when it can get pretty tough to manage all those things because it's hard to separate it out during the day. I mean, my little girl goes to school, and sometimes I'm taking her, sometimes I'm also picking her up, and that's 4 days a week, twice a day before I even have lunch, and that can take a lot of time. You got to go there and come back, but I guess, what I try to do is, just prioritize, what's most important at that moment. Most of the time it's my family. I try not to touch my phone much after 5. Those of you who know me on Instagram, you may see me on there a little bit after 5 p.m. Eastern time, but most of the time I'm not. And I'm not really on my phone during the day either. The only time I really get on there is to make a post. And then when I make a post, I check stuff. And some of you have gotten the message from me, hey, email me. Email me here. And that's not me being rude. It's me saying that you're not going to get a hold of me because I'm not on my phone during the day. And when I am on my phone on Instagram, I'm not usually around work or around my family. I'm usually like feeding dogs or doing something in between. Maybe even more stupid, I'm driving or something like that. And I'm just talking into my phone trying to answer a question. Now, YouTube, that one's tough. You guys know I don't put a whole lot of effort into editing these videos. I've got the same little fiddle song that I play at the very end with end screens. But I try to get in a video anytime I can, and I just tell my family, hey, I'm doing a video, don't come over here. And I lock that door over there. Usually I have on those other lights to have a little bit extra light, but I don't have no crazy setup. I've got a few Lucky Charm boxes and things I just throw in the background. And it can get even more complicated, that now that Jeff has had a relapse with his health, he's living here full time. My wife is pregnant. We're getting ready to have another baby, so I'm going to be doing all these other things a lot more. I'm very involved in my church. You've got Patreon, where I'm constantly answering questions, making invoices on PayPal, managing the website. It can be a lot, to manage all at once because I do a lot of my taxes as well, and I manage all the finances for my family and for the business. So, trying to get in everything, it can be tough. All I got to say is, prioritize what's most important and try to work on that. I like lists. I like making little lists like this. There we go. don't even know if you can see that. These are on little Pokemon pads. I just jot things down as I think about them. This was my list for before lunch. Warlick's Baptist Men plan. I'm the Baptist Men's leader there, so I got to work on a lesson for tomorrow and plan out our mission day for the later this month. We're going to help out a veteran who broke their neck, so I got to plan that out with the church. Q&A videos. That's what this is. All right. We have take check, take trash, take mail. Jeff, his father-in-law, I got to take him to his house. I'm also pick up some sun drop and some cheese balls. So, I mean, all kinds of little stuff. This is stuff from before that I did. PSA order, taxes, a bunch of other stuff. Just prioritize, make lists, do as much as you can. If you get too overwhelmed, step back. It's not like, you guys are going to go away if I don't post a video for a day, which that's what happened around Christmas time. My wife is asking me if I'm still videoing. I'm going to text her real quick. Because normally I don't have a video that's almost an hour long, which we're pushing it. And we still have several pages, so I am going to split this up into two. Next up, Kevin Quaidor. I think you're the Pikachu guy, right? What is your favorite Pokemon in each of the 8 generations? I mean, I like Charizard. I mean, he seems to make an appearance in all of them. Some of them get shafted a little bit, like Ladybug. Next up, we have Afterglow Gallery. Are you going to the Pokemon Regionals next month in Dallas? And if so, are you going to get anything signed, like the Gold Star, or set up a booth? No, I'm not. The only reason I was able to set up a booth at the Hartford Collectors events because Charlie set that up. He did such a great job. You guys message him, encourage him, tell him you're willing to invest and help him out. Vibes asks, what was it like starting your own business? Did you think you would be as big as you are now? I was just buying and selling. As long as I paid the bills, I was fine. Like I said, I didn't really need that much money to support me when I got out of college. In fact, I moved back to my parents when I got out of college. I had a little, it was maybe a 4 by 10 room or something. I mean, it was really small. It was just an add-on, and half of it was like a chimney. It was just, but I stayed. I spent a lot of my extra time with my now wife, and it wasn't 6 months after that we were getting our own apartment, and it has blown up. I know you guys think I'm just a big name in Pokemon. I mean, I think it's just because I've been around here a while, but those of you who have seen me and you know me, I'm just another guy. My name's Rusty. TCA Gaming is just the storefront name that I have to associate with Pokemon. Next up, we have Clown Blue. Pokemon Revolution. I almost said Revelation. Number 1. Smiley face heart. Yeah, Pokerev's pretty cool. Night Pain. Hey man, thanks for showing me Pokerev's channel. Quality content. Yeah, he does way better on his videos than I do. Old Masterin Openings. What's your favorite Pokemon set? Mine's actually Heart Gold, Soul Silver. I like base set. I like Jungle. Legendary Collection is pretty nice. Post WotC, probably Team Rocket Returns. Next up, Jack Stark. How did you get into collecting cards? It's just what you did back in the day. I think I've kind of went over this before, but just a kid in the late 90s, early 2000s. Harry Baker. What card would you most like to pull from a pack in 2020? A first ed Zard. But I would like to pull a first edition Dark Dragonite Air. That'd be sweet. KTG 1300. What are your favorite sports teams? So I used to pull for UNC basketball, pretty hard. I loved basketball. I loved watching the Tar Heels play basketball growing up. And it's just something we did with our family. When I went off to college at NC State, it was tough, but we took over the residence hall lobby, and because we didn't have cable in our room, and we'd go in there and watch, me and my buddy would, the Carolina basketball team games. We were like real fans. I'll tell you what, I used to wear, I had these bright Carolina blue pajamas, and then I had a bright blue Carolina hoodie and a Carolina hat. I'd wear it to class, and I tell you what, people would say all kinds of stuff to you when I'd be flying by on my bike. But I tell you what, they wouldn't say anything to your face. People, I think, I heard so much crap talked about Carolina that I didn't even know NC State didn't like Carolina until I went to State and just realized, they despised them. For me, growing up, it was always Carolina and Duke. NC State was somebody I actually pulled for, on the side. But at NC State, they just think they're this huge rival to Carolina. But used to watch some Panther football. We don't have cable. I probably haven't watched a sporting event in years now, unless it was just in passing or while I was at a restaurant or something like that. But I still kind of keep up with stats for Carolina. All right, next up, where did I go? Sabe, do you think there are specifically good/bad sets to collect? I mean, if you're looking at the money side, yeah. I mean, you don't want to be investing all your money into Steam Siege, Emerging Powers, even base set 2. I mean, I like that set. It's very underrated in my opinion, but if you don't have the stuff in PSA 10, I mean, the money's just not there for something like that. Next up, from Clayton Bigsby. What's the one card, box, item, etc. that has been out of your reach? Well, I guess now, First Ed base for the box. Specifically, an item that I haven't ever owned, that I've had in my grasp several times and I just did not take advantage of, is a Brock Deck A. And I have a Brock Deck B, or no, I opened it up and I graded all the singles. But the Deck A, I've had several open, but I've never had a sealed Brock Deck A. Cards, probably English verse. Those are just ridiculously hard to find. Next up, Eduardo Birondelli. Unleashed has some awesome artworks. All right, here we go. Lambo Ferrari. Cussing all my stuff. Dang 1000 promo EVs. Yeah, I'm working on it. Donnie Kaiser. I think I sent you an email and you never replied back. If I did not reply back, I didn't get it. Or it wasn't a question in there. Kind of like this. Brian Bauer 01. Did you end up finding another First Ed base set booster box? Not yet. Brian Yee. How do you go about getting gradable cards from Japan? Primarily promos without having to fly over there. I don't buy from Japan. Usually I just buy from people who have cards from Japan. I've hit some pretty big collections from Australia. There's a lot of Japanese collections over there. They're pretty close, and that worked out for me. Next up, Monogenome. When will WotC booster boxes become scarce? They are now. I mean, look at the price of them. Think about what Pokemon boxes really are. I mean, those things are, just say on average, $3,000 compared to a modern booster box, which is under $100. I mean, you got a 30 times multiplier there just in under 20 years. Next up, Avatar Guru. What's the best way to get into collecting again? Maybe like a good set to start with, or easily available on a smaller budget. Do you know if anyone specifically in Canada? I'd like to say thanks though, Rusty. I like your down-to-earth style. Not everyone needs flash and pop. You're super trustworthy, reliable, informative, and just a pleasure to watch. There's a bunch of compliments rolled in one, so thank you for that. The best way to get into collecting again with a small budget? Newer cards. I mean, you still get a lot of bang for your buck, with that stuff. I mean, you can buy full arts for $3 a piece, new ones, mint condition. You could even possibly grade, have a PSA 10 full art card that's really popular that you really like for under $20. I think that's a decent way to go. If you like that stuff. I mean, if you like older cards, then just collect non-holographic cards or something like WotC promos ungraded. That Eevee that was just mentioned before, where I bought 1,000 of them. I bought them it was $2 a piece. Yeah, PSA 10 is going to be thousands, over 1,000. Some guys asking over $3,000 for one. But ungraded, nice condition, great for a binder, $2. Be easy to do. Next up, Iconcepts. What's your favorite evolution? Yeah, it's Jolteon. That's me. I like Jolteon too. Mitchell Kramer's Hidden Fates, a set to collect sealed for maybe a future rise in price. I think anything is, if you're willing to hold on to it for a long enough time. But take interest in it, because if you don't, then you're probably going to get rid of it. First chance you have to, because of something that comes up. Colin Wenzel, do you watch football? If so, what's your favorite team? I don't anymore. I mean, I used to watch the Panthers. That was about it. And I pulled for them, but I didn't keep up with them that much. Robert Stockhersky. How do you feel the value of WotC First Edition PSA 9 cards will change in the upcoming future? Do you think they are a good investment? We'll probably stop here. They should go up. I think they're due to go up. You can get First Edition Wizards of the Coast Hollows mint 9, already graded, guaranteed mint condition for under $30 right now. That's crazy. The lowest I sell them for is $39.99, but like I just sold today a Rainbow Energy from Team Rocket First Edition, $39.99. You know, the bare minimum First Edition price that I asked for PSA 9s. And mine wasn't even the cheapest, but that's the price that it sold for. A PSA 10 is basically non-existent. So I mean, that's the highest available grade on the market, and yet it's selling for $39.99. A First Ed Team Rocket pack, guaranteed to not have a holographic card, is going to be more than $39.99. A guaranteed heavy Team Rocket First Edition pack is probably going to be well over $200. I would say even more, just because to get a guaranteed heavy Team Rocket pack, I mean, you're looking at like 4 packs in a box. The rest of them are going to be maybes or definitely light. So I think those should go up. I think they're a great investment. You're getting a lot of bang for your buck. So that'll do it for this video. We still have this many pages left. 5. So we have 6 pages left. And then after those 6 pages, we will be done. So we will have one more Q&A video. Try to answer all of these in that next one. Thank you guys for submitting all these questions. It's been a blast trying to answer all of these. Not so much from my throat. I'm not a talker. I'm already getting very tired of talking. But we're a full hour into this video, which would have been another 3 videos if we had drug it out into 20-minute sections each. But stay tuned for another video. Thanks.